So something I actually found today, which I found quite interesting, but also a bit worrying about HELLDIVERS 2, is the fact that they've actually lost 90% of their player base in the past 5 months. And like, it's still getting around 40,000 players, which is still quite impressive, but it was getting around 450,000 concurrent players, which was huge. It was in like #1 on Steam. Now it's like getting around into the 15s and 20s. It's not really doing as well anymore, and for a live service game, like, you really wanted the player base to be quite alive and playing for getting more expansions, more DLC. So this had me thinking that maybe we won't be actually getting much DLC if the player base drops off this much. Like, the fact that after 5 months after the launch the game just dies off is a bit worrying. So you're probably wondering why this happened. Is one, the game is sadly a little bit repetitive, and I only noticed this a few weeks in, well actually probably a week in. It's just like, play the same mission over and over again, different maps, different things, but it's mostly the same thing, and it does get quite repetitive and quite boring after a while. Like, you get your favorite skin and you get your favorite gun, and that's about it. Like, there's not much else to it. It is very fun while you're doing that, but once you finish that, the game does get quite repetitive and quite boring, and you just end up playing other games. Like, even on Twitch, it was getting around 200,000 plus viewers back in its day, back 5 months ago, and now it's struggling to get 400 viewers. So it's really slowed down, even on like the social media space, like everywhere there. So that's quite scary. I can only imagine, like, as a developer, you're looking at this and you're like, is this even like worth putting money into? Is this even worth like making these massive expansions? Like 40,000 is still a lot, but I'm also wondering, like, would a massive expansion bring people back? Would it bring you back? Like, tell me in the comments below, like, if they were to bring out a new DLC for this game, a proper big DLC, would that bring you back? The only thing is, we don't even know if there's going to be a DLC for a while, and by then it could be too late. So they'd really want to come out guns blazing quite soon if they wanted to actually like bring back the audience and the people who love the game. Like, I would love to play the game, but it's just, at the moment, it's just not really in a great state. They haven't really added much to it to bring people back, as you can obviously see by the player base numbers. Like, I also think one reason why it could have killed the game a bit, and a lot of people are saying online, is to do with the whole PlayStation debacle, with the whole PlayStation login situation, which I can kind of see and I kind of agree with. I said it on my Ghost of Tsushima video, basically saying that, like, PlayStation making it mandatory to play their games on Steam, you must have a PlayStation account to log in, which doesn't sound like a huge problem obviously, but you actually can't play the game in like 300 countries. So basically, in those 300 countries, if you bought the game HELLDIVERS 2 a month prior to this happening, you could play it, no problems, but after a month they basically told you, no, you can't play the game because you're from these countries. And this really upset a lot of people. Like, people were downvoting the game on Steam. It got hugely downvoted. I'm sure you've heard of this, and if you haven't, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it, because this game was just so beloved, and it just blew up out of nowhere, and everyone thought this was the next best thing. Like, it was competing with Call of Duty and Fortnite. Like, I've never seen so much hype for a game in so long, and I was loving it. I was expecting to get like a huge DLC like really soon. I feel like everyone else kind of felt the same way, that after a few weeks the game did get quite dry and a little bit more boring and kind of very repetitive, and I feel like everyone kind of was expecting some DLC and it just never really came around. The updates that did come around weren't that big enough to really suffice and keep people around, so hopefully they can bring it back. If you guys think the game can actually come back from this, leave a like and comment below if you do, and I would love to hear, guys, what do you think of this whole situation, and do you think HELLDIVERS is gone, or do you think it'll come back bigger than ever? Anyways guys, if you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, comment below, and subscribe. It helps me out so much. Thanks for watching.